receivers. Brandon Ayuk, we mentioned this a little bit, but I wanted to get our thoughts, see if anything else has kind of percolated around in the old thought noggins. I've got two potential trade options for you guys, and we did discuss, I think, one of them. What was that?
I'm excited. I said, all right, I'm excited for like two.
Yeah, so it did two that, you know, maybe make sense here. Number one, we've talked about this a little bit. That is the pick swap from the 49ers, number 10 to 31. We've talked about that, saying it's too valuable to give up that number 10 pick. We're going to need it for an offensive lineman. The other one I think is interesting, and I think it's worth some discussion at the very least, and that is DJ Reed for Brandon Ayuk. Let's say there was a situation, Matt, where you cannot, like, I am with you guys 110%. You cannot trade DJ Reed for a draft pick, because I mean, if you get a first round pick, I understand if you make the move, but you're not getting that. And a second round pick to me for DJ Reed is not enough to justify what he can do on the field. But if you're telling me DJ Reed for Ayuk, I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat. As much as I love DJ Reed, I think getting a 26-year-old elite weapon opposite Garrett Wilson, and if we have to drop a few ticks on the defensive side to increase a few ticks on the offensive side, I would probably do that. I think it makes a little more sense to me. I definitely don't want to give up number 10. Matt, what are your thoughts on both of these?
I think Mike Tannenbaum suggested the second one. He's been on a He's been on a real heater of great trade options.
He's been horrible.
Yeah.
This one at least sort of makes sense.
But
you tell me it doesn't? They need a cornerback. He played for them already. It absolutely makes sense. It definitely doesn't. It makes more sense than any of the Tannenbaum takes that he's had this week. Those have been awful.
Trader Mike.
I don't really like either of these. I don't want to drop down to 31, and then I don't want to be put in a spot where Brandon Eccles is going to have to be starting games for me.
So there's no situation where that is like appealing to you at all. Like, let's say Reed wants his contract extension. He's like, hey, I deserve $20 million a year because I've been playing like a top corner in this league, and like that's what I want. And we didn't get Mike Evans because he went back to Tampa Bay, and the wide receiver room looks better. Like, that doesn't become more appealing to you at all? Or you just like sort of like, you can't lose Reed? That's more your stance?
Yeah, I mean, I think their whole defense is based on pass rush and locking up wide. Like, that's their calling card. I don't think I could be talked into flipping DJ Reed for Brandon Ayuk.
Ooh, interesting. What is DJ Reed worth to you in a trade at all? Like, is it a first round pick?
Maybe, but I don't know. Like, you're cutting your nose to spite your face at that point. Like, if the Jets are going to be competitive next year, they need their defense to be essentially the same thing, a top 3 unit, and they need their special teams to be a top 3 unit. And I don't know how, if you're trading DJ Reed, that your defense is going to be able to stay in that same range. Like, I think you should be able to improve your offense without having to sell off a top 10 cornerback.
Greamy, what about you? What do you think of these two trades in particular, and what would you value DJ Reed at, or what would you value Ayuk at?
All right, straight up DJ Reed for Brandon Ayuk. I'm
going to put a poll question in the chat because I feel like that's the more interesting one. I don't think anyone's interested in the number 10 pick swap.
Yeah. Now I'll talk about that too. But number one, I want to say I don't want to lose DJ Reed. He's the kind of player I'd love to see him just be a Jet. You know what I mean? Finish the year, him and Sauce. You know what I mean? And Michael Carter, for that matter. I'd love to see that. But getting Brandon Ayuk is a young player still too. He's going into his 5th year.
I don't think he's even 26 yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he's 25 and change.
He's never had under 700 yards. The last 2 years over 1,000. 1,300 last year. So he's the kind of guy that can blow an offense open, especially when he's not the only guy on the offense, right? So he's incredibly valuable. Now, if we re-signed a Bryce Hall, I'm not saying Bryce Hall is DJ Reed. I'm not. But Bryce Hall's no slouch. So if you had Sauce and Bryce Hall and Michael Carter, and you can get a Brandon Ayuk, when you put those on the scale, I think that it might be a thing that you consider. So I would definitely consider it. I would have to look at what Brandon Ayuk. I mean, he's going to be wanting what, 30 million or something like that. I saw 28.
He's going to want top
like
money. It's going to be 25 plus probably.
Yeah.
But if Reed's what do you think Reed gets?
2 million.
Like, I don't think he's going to get like a top contract from us. I think it would have to be a discounted-ish deal. Like, if we could get him for 13 to 15 million a year, maybe. Top corners are getting like 20.
Why can't we pay people? That's bullshit. Anyway.
Well, I think with Reed, what you are slightly concerned with is not that he's not old. He's 28 years old. If you keep it within like a 3-year window, or if it's just a 2-year window, it doesn't impact your other guys necessarily. I don't know.
So he's got 2. So Ayuk's going into his 5th, and Reed's going into his 7th. So he's definitely not old. He's like prime. How old is he? Let's see. 27. Yeah, he's 27, 28. So he's right there. I don't know. I'd hate to lose him, but I would definitely entertain it. I'd kick the tires on that deal. The first one, sliding back from 10 to 31, getting Ayuk and still having a first round pick, that's not necessarily unattractive. Of course, you're going to be sliding out of you're not going to be getting, Mims, Fwanga, probably you're going to lose out on Jordan Morgan, maybe even Guyton. So what do you want? What are you going to do there? How does it benefit you? Now you've taken care of wide receiver, but the tackles are gone that are going to be able to come in and help you. I mean, if you believe Guyton can come in, he may be there. Graham Barton might still be there. But I mean, Graham Barton is projected to slide inside. I don't know.
When I did my mock draft, I had all those guys going ahead of the 31st pick. I was not happy with
and Jordan Morgan. Yeah.
I think the only tackles I had left at that point were like the BYU tackle and
Sumatia.
Yeah, however you say his name. He was there still. And then I think Fatanu went at that pick. So it would be like a guard tackle hybrid is how I had that falling. But he could go higher too.
Yeah, he's going to be a tackle. I mean, there are teams that'll try to move him inside. I don't see any reason why that guy wouldn't stay at tackle, but that's just me. But yeah, man, there's definitely a drop off. And if we're looking for our rookie first round pick to come in and contribute immediately, it's less likely that 31 is going to be able to do that.